COPchurch. Let me ask you a question. Who's the boss? I mean, we want to be the boss. I like being the boss. I like making decisions. But let me plant a seed thought in your mind for you to chew on for the next few days. If your job, being a cop, becomes your life, and you don't control your job because the boss does, then am I right to assume that you don't control your life? The Bible says in the book of James chapter 4 and verse 14, yet you do not know the least thing about what may happen tomorrow. What is the nature of your life? You are really but a wisp of vapor, a puff of smoke, a mist that is visible for a little while and then disappears into thin air.
So who's the first victim of hypervigilance? You are. Sure, it's true that many other people suffer from your loss of emotional and behavioral balance. Your family does. Your friends do. Your church does. The more non-police activities and relationships that you draw away from, the more you draw from the police work to satisfy your social and emotional needs. And you have just redefined yourself as the person you once were. Should you show up in that condition at your 25th high school reunion? I'm joking because by now, this is a hypothetical situation. You're not going to 25th high school. You know that, right? Those people wouldn't even know who you are because, anyway, you're more likely to go to an academy reunion anyway. What makes us complete in our humanity? Doesn't it include, and this is a short list, spirituality, culture, ethnicity, hobbies, interests, friends, family, maybe some goals? The anchor we've dropped in each of those reservoirs is what determines our emotional stability. If hypervigilance in police work goes with you when you check 10-7, you've just pulled all those anchors up and have only one anchor out, your job. You're no longer a person. You, my friend, are an officer all the time. Had a similar discussion with my chief some months ago, and I asked him this question. When am I, Brother Perry, pastor, preacher, Chaplain Johnson, and when am I just plain old Perry? I further clarified by making it personal and asking, when are you not the chief? I know I always address you as chief on the job, at the office, on a ride-along, at community events, and the list goes on and on and on and on. But what about when we're playing basketball, or out jogging, or eating in our favorite restaurant with our wives? Can I ever call you by the name your mama gave you? I am a cop defines the essential core of the sense of self for officers. But this creates an under-identification with other roles that balance the cop role. I am a friend. I am a mother. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a wife. I'm a church or synagogue member. I'm a grandpa. I'm a grandma. I'm a bowler. I'm a hunter. I'm a fisherman. I'm a scuba diver. I'm a golfer. I'm a gardener. I'm a marathon runner. I'm a mountain biker. So who's in control? Our Bible verse explains there's a great portion of our life that we will never be in control of. But let me ask you this. Who controls the type of person you are? The good Lord did give us the freedom of choice. And for the most part, we get to choose if we want to be in good physical shape or not. We get to choose our food and exercise amounts each day. And we have a significant degree of control over our own day-to-day existence, and that gives us a sense of emotional equilibrium and stability. But when psychological dysfunction shows up, we know there's two contributing factors to it. There's always high demands and low control. And yes, bear with me, I am going somewhere with this line of thought. And here it is. When your sense of self becomes welded to the cop role, to the exclusion of all the other roles you have just climbed up in a tree, sat on a limb, and sawed that limb off that you're sitting on. Because you need to have control of your life as much as possible. And you just gave that control away to whoever happens to be your boss. Because after all, I'm a cop. And cops have a boatload of bosses. Who decides what kind of cop you're going to be? And don't be so quick to answer that you decide, because you don't. No, I'm the sergeant. Well, great. Who's the lieutenant? Well, I'm the captain. Okay. Who's the major? I'm the colonel. Great. So you answer the director and the governor, or whoever your supervisor is. I'm the president. Don't forget you haven't been an elected official. Another sermon. All that being said, what do you control? You are in charge of your integrity. You are in control of your professionalism. And you're the one that determines how well you do the job that you've been assigned to. The other major elements in your life are controlled by the agency, the administration, maybe the management, the court system. Doesn't that drive you crazy? The Constitution, the politics of the department. I learned in Alita that the greatest soap opera is not on TV, it's in the agency. The local, state, or federal elected officials, and last but certainly not least, the good Lord Himself, because He is your ultimate boss and higher authority. That's according to Romans chapter 13. If you've never read that chapter, that's a good chapter to read, because He's the great avenger. So do you wear polyester or do you wear a cotton uniform? More than likely you didn't get to make that decision, along with 10,000 other decisions management made and possibly, according to you, got wrong. So it's a rude awakening when you are a cop and you find out you've handed control of your new LIFE over to a bunch of people you don't even know that well, may not even like. They decide your rank, position, assignment, schedule, whether you drive the Charger or the Impala. Sometimes you just throw up your hands and say, but just remember, you gave up the other areas of your life where you do get to call the shots and keep your emotional life balanced. Nobody robbed you but you. Now you have feelings of vulnerability and susceptibility. You're at risk. Starting to enjoy paranoia maybe. Sweet. Next thing that begins to happen to you, you inherited from your old grandpappy Adam, Eve's husband, back there in the Garden of Eden. When he sold the farm down the river, he was confronted by God and he did what we all learn to do. Blame somebody else. It's their fault. Remember, you don't control your cop life. God put you in charge of your personal life. And victims focus on what they do not control. Survivors focus on what they do control. And we mentioned that you, as the officer, are the first victim of hypervigilance that's gone astray. The second victim is not your spouse or your kids, it's your career. If you assume the victim orientation, begin rationalizing and justifying to yourself a substandard behavior style that you would have previously found unacceptable, maybe earlier in your career, you, my friend, are on very thin ice. You're around this victim-based thinking every day. And what do victims want? They want restitution, and they want fairness. They want someone to right the wrong that's been done to them. They want retribution. Even the self-perceived victim will display victim attributes. To list a few on a long list, here they are. Hypersensitivity to change. All change is a personal assault. They did that on purpose. Rigidity and inflexibility. The ever-present feeling of a threat from the organization. Maybe it's social isolation from others in the organization, except for a few true believers. I don't know. Maybe that's why I can't get somebody to come to the Christmas party. I don't know. An internalized sense of entitlement. I can do that. Don't let the victim's street talk contaminate your mind and heart. What they say? He called me a name. That's why I shot him. Oh, he cut me off in traffic. That's why I run in the back of his car. Oh, she was messing around with my man, so I stabbed her. She was messing around with my man, so I stabbed her. She was messing around with my man, so I stabbed her. Or she was messing with my man, and I stabbed her. She owed me $10. That's why I keyed her car. They were playing the music too loud, so I chunked a rock through their window. Well, that's good. See, after hearing that trash talk every single day, it's easy to have these thoughts run through your mind. The department messed up with me, so that's why I engaged in that behavior. Or those rules don't apply to me because of what I have to put up with. See, that's victim-based thinking. And don't let this be said of you. Good officers don't show their victim status by going out and doing something wrong. They go out and stop doing something right.
Listen, the good Lord is not pleased with that at all. The Bible says that whatever we do, do it as unto the Lord. Remember who I told you your ultimate boss was, according to Romans chapter 13, God Himself. We work as if God's sitting in the seat with us and He's working with us. God's an avenger, and He's going to right any wrong that you suffer on the job or off the job, for that matter, as long as you stay in the right. In the next episode, we're going to discuss practical steps to becoming an emotional survivor and a top-notch law enforcement officer, as well as a top-notch dad, a mom, a golfer, whatever God's equipped you to be. So reaching your potential goes way beyond just your career. Remember, God has your back if you'll submit to Him and let Him be there in that position, if you trust Him. Hey, thanks for watching.